Welcome to the Flow Party.
Yeah.
We've been wanting.
Brasil.
Ah, wait, I think you're muted. Let me unmute you.
Let me check.
Yeah, okay, now
Okay,
you're good.
so how hey guys, oh my God,
Yeah.
finally,
Finally.
finally this is happening. I'm so happy to know, like, to be here, especially after a couple of months, trying to make this happen. So thanks so much,
Yeah.
Melissa, for all your support, for the invitation. I'm really excited, like to share some knowledge and to help people to engage more with creative code. I know, like Webflow. It is like a new tool for me. I mean, it's not like a new tool in the market, but for me, it is like a new tool. It's like my first time using it, which, like, to be honest, I was very impressed. Um,
With
and oh my
Webflow?
God, yes, I was very impressed because that's not the first time I have like used what you see is what you get kind of like tool, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would try like to say like what you get. Even I know understand like no code is easy, but for me like it's a little bit hard to understand like it's no code term because it's still like code behind it, like
Yeah.
under the hood. But
That's
yes,
why we say
so
all the time, like, it's really not no code. There is code, it's just
yeah.
different.
Yes, definitely. But so yes, actually, my career started with it started with this kind of tool like back in 2017. I was trying to use one tool kind of similar. Was called like Adobe Muse. Uh, like Adobe just like finished, like decided to not continue with that exactly software anymore because they're too busy, like by Figma, by other softwares. So,
Yeah.
anyways, and it was like kind of really easy to. It was like really easy to use, but the code was like extremely dirty. And Webflow, like the code that generates, kind of like really like easy to handle if you need to manipulate them afterwards. So
Mhm.
it was like a really like nice experience. Yes, I love coding to be honest. Like I'm not like I hardly would say I would like just like keep using because for me like coding is something like very it's kind of like therapeutic. I'd say. Don't know. You see, it's
Really?
kind of
For
like
me, it's like a
yeah.
headache.
No, yeah, but yes, no, it is understandable because I mean, really depends. They come like from the design background, so I don't know. It's kind of trying to find like a mid ground between just exercise, like this. Let's be like a artist, and like okay, let's be like a little bit like like more technical. So for me, it's like a lot of like
Mhm.
mid ground. So I always see coding as a therapeutic thing. So I love code. Like just when I see things done there, but not like I actually typed the code, just like, but Webflow was really nice experience. It was, like a decision by one of those clients. They said, no, we'd like to use like Webflow. It's like, just like a little bit funny because the same way we decided to use Webflow, they afterwards decided to take the code, the whole thing from there and export
Oh,
somewhere else because they want to use different CMS. But anyways, like it was a really fun experience. And then of course the content I will be able to share here you guys can use anywhere. Like the Webflow will be like really easy to implement. And thanks so much for everybody, decides to come here and join this party. So I'm really excited to share some knowledge with you guys.
yeah. No, thank you for coming. So, I want to start today's party with maybe you introducing yourself for the people that don't know who you are, which I doubted because I mean, we all love your work, but give us a little bit of background of who you are, what you do, and why we're so obsessed with your work.
Okay, so yes, my name is Victor. Um, I'm original from Brazil, and I have been like living in Canada for almost 4 years now, but it's been like really, like awesome to have like proximity with the dev community. And I started my whole career, as I said, with the design background. I come like my first contact with like this digital industry, I'd say back 16 years ago. So I believe this is something which like helped me a lot to deliver a high-end content because it is really hard to manage both sides. Try to be like a very technical and deliver something with people can see and can like take a look and see value in the same way. Like okay, this is like aesthetic pleasing. So I think that is what make my work a little bit like I would say
Special.
different from the rest of people because they usually like are only like is excellent designer or excellent developer, and
Mhm.
not just trying to find a middle ground, a balance between like being both. And I'm really like glad to see and to know people they do enjoy my work. It seems it is working somehow, and that's why I would say that is I'd say like the main reason why I have like been building such uh, such not it's very noticeable career in people they get inspired about my work just because I found a way to merge both words.
Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah, in a kind of like a way that makes sense. It's not like okay, true design or true code. Just trying to
Mhm.
find. And on top of everything, there's animation, which animation is life, right? So you just like see this.
Animation is life.
Yeah, it is. It
Yes.
is because it's basically more is motion, right? So it is
Yeah.
what kind of like bring some sort of feeling uh, between those both components, design and development.
Yep. I agree 100%. Are you in Toronto?
No, I'm currently in Montreal.
Montreal. Okay, they were asking here on the chat. So for those of you that don't know, if you want to check out Victor's work, he has one of the most or one of the coolest portfolios that launched last year, I think, or was it this year?
Now was like the last was is that like 1 year ago? I would say.
Okay, yeah. So he has a really, really cool portfolio that it's sort of super interactive. You can choose how you want to navigate it. It's like really, really interesting, beautifully designed, and it's actually running for a Webby Awards right now. So if you want to check it out, please go check it out using this link, and then you can also vote for him if you want to give him his vote. And it's sort of like what I was saying to the party in our chat, our private chat. I was saying, this is like our way to pay you for coming here and like basically teach this for free. We have amazing guests, and all of this is like free for everybody to take and like run with. So we're super grateful, and hopefully a lot of people vote and get you to the first place, which I think you
Yes,
are, but just in case.
yes, definitely. Thanks so much, like for us buying the the calls because it is kind of unfair. I hope you guys at least click there to see, like the whole competition. The competition has been like really unfair because I'm running against big agents in studio, and my website was built entirely by myself. And when I say like entirely by
Yeah,
myself, I
exactly.
can I can say like from design to actually like preparing the assets. So it is not like it's being a long run in this competition because we see the competitors there. Of course, they are, they do have extremely well done website, but
Mhm.
again, we did like just one person, and they're like running for a self promotion category. So I do believe it would be interesting to win for our community. Like here I don't see like Victor represent myself, and I see like Victor representing um creatives, the industry because there I'm the only developer who work like independent or as freelancer who is actually competing. So I'm not there just like representing Victor. I'm representing like the whole
All of the
freelance
freelancers, yeah.
whole freelancer community, and especially my country as well. We say like because we're like the only like Brazilian that are running as well. So thanks so much, guys. Would you like mean the word if you guys just take some time, go there, like you vote if you, of course, believe that is like deserved, and that's gonna be like really, really like helpful. Yeah, and
Love
hopefully,
that.
And I'll tell something. If we bring like this baby home, I'll get back here so we can celebrate together. Okay?
Oh
Yay!
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
We can have
You
some
got this,
drinks.
Victor. You got this.
That's amazing. Okay, so now let's get to the nitty gritty. So, for those of you that don't know, Victor actually built a whole site for the flow party to show you guys what he's going to be talking about today. So, Victor, you can share your screen. If you stand on the side, there's like a little share icon. You can share your
Yeah.
screen there whenever you're ready. And yeah, just whenever you're
Okay,
ready,
so
go ahead.
just like giving them like a better heads up about the project. Of course, I built the project, like inside of Webflow, and because I do see people who are very engaged with that tool, I said, you know what? I will try to build something, try to share as much uh, knowledge I can on top of it. But because it's a client project, like I tried to dodge a couple of stuff there. So the website was actually like online because I wanted to share, but I had to remove the website from online. But I will try to share here on my screen. Of course, not like be able to see, like the whole interaction, everything like a smooth. But uh, after trying to presenting a little bit the web flow, the concept they created behind. Guys, please don't judge me. As I said, like my first contact, so if you see, something like flying around there, of course, you guys are really like more, well prepared inside of Webflow than I am. But I did my best. But I will show, like the static version, which the client approved, and after that, what we created, the interactive part. So just give me a second so I can like run the whole thing here because I'm like, use like two screens. Okay, so we have this thing here.
By the way, I'm sure your build is going to be better than us, even though we've done this for like years.
I I I hardly
I
believe
feel
it.
like
So
in
let's
Webflow, if you are a coder or like a developer and you come into Webflow, it's just so much simpler and
yes,
your structure is better than designers
that
coming into Webflow.
that is something like interesting because I was just like wondering when I was using because as I said, I used some kind of no code tool before and was like very design driven I would say, but there somehow they should like using some coding like terminology like position
Mhm.
absolute that kind of stuff which would be really hard for people who has no sense about what exactly you can do with like a position absolute and how you're gonna like try to understand. Of course, I also like notice they are trying to give like a nice documentation on use like in build, so you can like start like clicking stuff. They like pop up some tips, but even so, it should not like really hard if you just like came from design background and want to build something there. You still need to understand. For example, I want something to be a full screen. How can I do that? I want two
Uh-huh.
things to be on top of one another. So I think it's still like very code driven for a non code like tool. For me, I was like really surprised. So I was kind of like wondering, people who never interact with coding before, how much they can get of it without like any prior, I would say, I don't know, tutorial or anything. Because those other tools I used, you just go there, it's like like drag and drop stuff, like drag from here to there, if as if you're using like Figma, but there it doesn't work in that way,
Mhm.
which like is very interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have the website open here. I tried, like let's uh, also Webflow. That is so cool. Like, you know, I'm handling this tool. Very interesting. Okay,
Well,
so
we can't wait for you to
let's
keep using it.
let's see. How can I share again?
Go
Share. I think
on the
is that
left.
is
Yeah,
one.
right here.
Share your screen. Enable for all. Should
No,
like
just share your screen.
okay. Share my screen, and then I have to choose a window entire screen. Okay, so Sure. This can you guys see it?
Yes.
I'm not sure. It's like it's small. It's just like very like
No,
small.
that's perfect.
Okay, okay. So here's no like is the whole Easter. So talk a little bit about the project. It's like a really like interesting project because it is a group of dance. They do like voguing. I didn't even know what like voguing was before. Voguing is a kind of it's kind of like eccentric, like dancing. They do is more directed to LGBTQ community. So if you
Mhm.
look, for example, take do a research on YouTube, most likely you see like the LGBTQ community like performing this dance. But it is like really nice, really fun. So here is just like placeholders, but is the whole thing entirely here is like responsive and everything. So there's like the the static version. So I kind of like create the whole thing here. I tried like to not import as much code inside, but for example, if you come here like style and I kind of some sort of create like my whole tailwind, I would say. When you can like reuse class. So I try to import them here, which like make my life easier. So for example, if I come here like to here you can see I kind of use some class here which would like to make my life easier in a sort of, for example, this one is like a flex code, which means is display flex direction column. So that is like the somehow like the way I found to try to minimize a little bit my work here inside. So that is like just the static version, guys, here not like very I would say exciting here, you know
We
of
think that
course,
it
like
was very exciting when we saw it. Can you share the
yeah, I
link or
know.
no?
I mean, I don't think I can, not because it's not online, it's just because you
So
guys
so
can
why
see the
don't you
link there.
so why
You
don't you
guys can see the
yeah,
link there.
exactly.
I'm gonna, but I'm gonna put it down later, okay? So can guys can see that is the link. Yeah, so guys can not take a look like full screen. Of course, this one is not nothing special. Just we have like some other compositions here as well. For example, the grid, the intro. So each one, this one here is, and then I have like the intro I create here as well. That is like the intro. If you guys had the chance to actually see the the demo, like the presentation video I showed yesterday, we
Mhm.
have this kind of composition here, but of course a little bit like more interactive. And then also I have like the member, the main. I mean, I don't know if that would be like the easiest way to do like the best approach. So these kind of components I'm showing here are components or like frames of the website, which it's gonna be like position fixed. So which
Mhm.
means
Mhm.
I just like created a different page in order like to manage them better instead of like using display hidden or display block. So yeah, and then have like this icon grid here. This one is the one I'm gonna like be using today. So anyways, here it's not like super simple, nothing special. As you guys can see here online. But here is actually when things like start to get like interesting. So that is like the local. And you know what? I will try to talk to my client and see what exactly I can do to bring like this final version inside of Webflow and maybe try to share with you guys. Okay. I promise I will try to do that. So it gonna just like refresh here, and then you have like like this preloader, which didn't preload everything. That was missing a video. Let's see if now we can see it. Yeah, the video is there. So that would be the intro, and then you have like this kind of animation, and then just like of course not like, as much like as smooth it was supposed to be, but it's like almost like the final version. So and then you have like
Wow.
Interesting
So
animations.
all of that is PixiJS?
No. The PixiJS I would like to show you guys. Like the PixiJS
Okay.
is, you guys are being lucky because the PixiJS, it is a new version of this website which I have been trying to look it for my clients to have like the sign off for it. So you guys will be like seeing the first hand. So here you can see you have like like parallax and you're gonna like change the members according like starts scrolling. And if you click here, you'll see the dancers. And then click here to select the dancer better and then you have so this whole thing was put on Webflow, but I have now I have to implement this, like this whole CMS they're trying not to use. So I could like kind of like try to animate inside of there, but I mean I think it's just like a matter of like dropping the JavaScript there, and I think everything like is like work perfectly. So and then I have
So
like
beautiful.
yeah
Somebody has a question here. So they
yeah.
say, so sweet. Did you export the Webflow site and run it locally to add the effects, or is it pulling in from the Webflow domain and adding on top?
No. This one, I mean, I started using, like from a local host to link directly with that before, but when my client decides to move for a different like CMS, I just like exported the whole thing. If you like make more sense. But the main core, I would say, from the Webflow code is still here. So, for example, if I share, even it's not like hosted by Webflow, and somebody go there and inspect the code, they will still like see it like built by Webflow and everything. It's just because uh, the clients they decide to use a different like CMS tool. So and then you have here. So guys like seeing like this whole thing like in the first hand because and then you have
Wow.
yeah. So uh, just like in here's the footer, and then have like an interaction. I miss like just like some like a couple of animations and interactions here, but the main core is already here is like kind of like working the way it should, and it's just of course some responsive as well, responsive animations. But yeah, the whole website's here. I hope I can like try to share a little bit more insights of this website and how I managed like to, because I can say the most of animations that I created here was actually like using Webflow as a local host because it would be easier to manage. But after that, just like exported everything. So, anyways, but let's try now to take a look better on the demo we're creating today, which like actually like PixiJS. The animation you guys saw here, this animation here, it was like PixiJS. The another animation you saw here as well was like kind of like PixiJS. So, but today I'm gonna show something a little bit like more exciting. Okay, use like some filters, use like some shaders. So, okay, let's get started. Uh, I will just like close this whole thing here. That's no, it's not anymore, guys. I'm really sorry. I don't publish this. I don't think it is published. It's published. I don't even know. Oh, this one is published. Sorry, guys. I'll share with you guys like the final version later if I can. Okay. So let's close this whole thing here. Uh, okay. So um, anyways, let's start simple here. Let's start, trying to, because of course, it makes sense to try to build things inside of Webflow so you can actually see directly there. But just because you're in a learning environment, I will try to use something called like Code Sandbox, which it is very. I'm gonna just put a little bit like away my microphone here. So guys, let me know if you can't hear me properly, so I can like move closer. So I'm gonna use like Code Sandbox. I'm gonna just create a new here. You can use like vanilla. Okay, so Code of the Box, I believe, like all you guys should probably know, is a kind of like a better version, like CodePen, so you can easily build something like fast without having to set up your own coding environment. So here I'm gonna, just trying to, let's start again so you guys can see it. Just trying to be like step by step. We're gonna open here again, go to some box, and then create account, create, and then this one I'm gonna use here is vanilla. I do have a template from Anderson Mancini. Shout
Oh
out.
yeah, he actually came to
So,
the party one time and taught us.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I brought him. I'm actually talking to him right now. He's
Oh,
teaching me
okay,
some stuff with 3JS. He's cool. He's really cool.
great. So okay, I'm gonna use like vanilla here. Like nothing. The only dependency you have here is parcel, which is just like to build and put everything together, JavaScript, uh, CSS, and the HTML. So I'm gonna like get rid of this whole thing here, which like it is very unnecessary, even like the style CSS. So because we could see like hello vanilla here because of this piece of code. So I'm gonna like remove everything and have like a really like blank environment,
Mm-hmm.
and then have like the HTML very simple. So I'm gonna like import manually uh, the CSS, and then you have here um, dot source, dot style, CSS. Okay, this is not like working. Let's see where this styles actually is with S. Great. Okay, just trying to. I would also like import normalize and reset. Why this true is why like those two imports, what they do, they just kind of like remove any default configuration, default setting the browser might put inside of the website. So you can like have a completely, like blank
Mm-hmm.
canvas, so you can like start like building. Okay. So I will even like remove this div app from here as well. And then just to see if everything's working properly, I will come here, just like change the color to black. Okay. It is all good. And now I will, in order to create like because PixiJS, PixiJS has like a main core. I will try to explain a little bit like about like the Pixie itself, but just trying to give like some brief information. The PixiJS, they will probably render some sort of canvas. So you can decide PixiJS to which canvas they can build, or you can like decide by we can decide like by ourselves where exactly which element they will like use to put our canvas and to render our composition. Okay, so I'm gonna create here, gonna be like a man, and then you create like a canvas, which you decide which one I'm gonna use. Canvas, and this canvas gonna call like view. Right.
So before you go into the nitty gritty, is this documentation in their site? Like to like set it
No,
up?
no, no. Okay, okay. So basically, for example, this setup I'm doing here, it is kind of not requirement in order to use. I just try to use it because I can, for example, render the canvas uh, exactly in the composition I would like to. If you come here to PixiJS.io and see you get started, the way they are doing, they're asking the library to create and to insert the canvas there, as you
Mm-hmm.
can see here. So, but that is not what I want. I want to create the canvas exactly on the place from my own choice, because let's assume I would like to get this canvas in insert in just a particular section or the inside of the website. That would be like easier for me to instantiate it. So I'm just gonna put things here, and then as as we start like progressing, things start like making more sense. So now what we have here, very simple, a man with there is a man in the canvas with the class view. Okay, so very simple, nothing special. And then what we'll do here is just like make the whole thing full screen. So what we get here, guys, I'm gonna just like copy and paste because I mean we don't have like a lot of time,
That's fine.
guys,
Yeah.
and you guys don't want to see like just coding things you see here. It's probably like super simple and you guys are very like familiar with. If you're not, just let me know. I can explain better. So here we have like a background color, full, uh, full screen, and then the man kind of will follow. The only thing I want to put here is the man should be like position fixed, so stay like on top of everything because we're creating here something which is full screen. Okay,
Hmm.
so I have here very simple enough changes. Come here into like red, like change to red. Great. So now you are start like actually installing the dependencies we need. So I'm going to start like with pix.js. Okay, it is there. Unfortunately, I don't know why when you install something here on the code pane, they kind of the code sandbox, they start like kind of like rolling these dice and not
Like
never
loading.
stop. Yeah, it never stops. So I'm gonna just try to refresh here. So okay,
So
I'm gonna select
while you do that, just for the people that will watch this on recording, we are building on a PixiJS, which is a library to create beautiful animations and shapes, and it's just a really cool library, such as like GSAP, that allows you to do just more advanced animation on your project. So right now we're setting up everything on Code Sandbox, and he has just created the dependency for PixiJS to kick in.
yes. Thank you, Donald. I usually like go and navigate people better through like what that like speaks and why you're using it. But thank for the introduction as well. So now just like installed PixiJS and then when you're talking about animation, what is the first library you probably gonna choose?
GSAP.
GreenSock, exactly. So just like GreenSock, and then in order to be able to use all of plugins they have. You want to use like the trial version, which just work here in Code Sandbox or on Content Pane. So if you want to use like a paid plugin, you actually have to buy it, the license. But here that's not like working perfectly. I'll just like come here, install GSAP as well, just to make sure everything's there. Okay. Cool. Now let's talk a little bit more about like Pixie, right? So PixiJS, it is as you can read here, it is a 2D FGL render, which to be honest, they're like more focused on browse games, especially platform kind of games, like RPG or like Mario Bros. So people usually like PixJS, they use like PeopleJS to create that kind of like environment, which when you start like advanced, you see the terminology they use for their components is called sprite because sprite is for the come here like put like sprite Mario Bros. You see basically like it is just a bunch of sequence
Yeah.
PNG sequence, which like kind of like make the games like move apart, right? And kind of give us this depth feeling, give us this kind of like 3D feeling, but it's basically just a sequence of PNG, and they just like change really fast. So it seems like it is 3D, but actually it is not. Just like 2D, 2D PNG is just like moving really fast. That's why it is called like sprite. Sprite is this whole composition when you have like a full sequence, and that is where Pix kind of excel because they render this PNG in a real like fast manner without like losing performance. Okay,
Oh,
but of course you can like build with a lot of like more interesting cool things. For example, this header we're seeing here, people would like might believe this whole thing is like true video and then you have like this kind of like mask, but actually they are not. All of those clouds and particles, they are like sprites created inside of PixiJS. So it is like a PixiJS composition here. So
Mm.
everything you see here is actually created by PixiJS. There's not like two videos, one masking another. Okay, so then unfortunately, it is a really like well maintained library, but their websites kind of be like outdated. So if you click here, you can see some examples they used, but some of those might be like offline, like this one here, because they're not, like kind of like folks in updating their website. But the library itself, they maintain very well. So every 2 or 3 weeks, they release a new version with upgrades and everything. So anyways, and then here you can like see a little bit like more the website documentation, and then they have like the get started here and download here. Okay, so this would be, and I will just try to explain a little bit more what that we can do, but just keep in mind we are using like WebGL, which that like this tool kind of like give us a lot of freedom, a lot of uh, a lot of concept and a lot of tools you can use to try to create like a more immersive experience. Okay, so uh, with that being said, now what we'll do is move ahead here and try to build stuff. And of course, when I talk about WebGL, we're talking about JavaScript, especially if we're talking like in a browse application, right? So here, I'm gonna just just to make sure everything's work, like alert here. Hey, okay, is there? Is work properly? So I will try to use here some concepts which like consider like a nice practice to handle like WebGL or handle like I would say extensive interactive project. So, but I'm not gonna be like diving too much in technical about what is JavaScript. Otherwise, I'm like kind of like get sidetracked here. I just like
Mhm.
try to be like more focused on the content you are learning. But of course, if you have any question, please let me know. I'll try like to clarify. So uh, when you're talking about a more immersive experience, and we're talking about using interactions, which these interactions should connect page A to page B, we need would be like extremely helpful for us to use JavaScript modules. And in this example, even not kind of like sharing information from one page to another page, we use module because that's a really nice practice. And if you guys start like thinking that way, when you decide to use JavaScript, it's gonna like help you guys to engage and be and create a better environment in order to build more immersive experience using JavaScript. Okay, so what we will do here, I this index.js, I will keep it as my entry file to my other JavaScript. So I'm gonna create here uh, a new folder called JS, and I'll put this inside of like our source, and then here inside of this JS folder, I will create like something called app.js. And when I instantiate the first letter with a capital letter, a capital case, it means like this specific JavaScript, this specific like file, will be a class. So I'm gonna put here, and then we'll create like this class. I'm gonna put export uh, app, export class app here, and then create like a constructor. So, and then like alert just to see. Yeah. And now you import inside of our index.js. So create new app. And now we have both files connected, which it is awesome. Okay. And we're gonna like go ahead and actually start. One thing it is really important to understand when you are using PixiJS, the way they understand the canvas in the space is a little bit different from 3JS. 3JS, they you understand the space as a coordinate, which like use like X, Y, and Z. But because we're talking about 2G, it's just coordinates in X and Y, which make our life a little bit easier if you have to define exactly the space and the width or the position where our components are going to be like located. Okay, so and because we need to always using y and z and sorry y and x, the best practice you can use is create two variables, one to allocate the size of your part in width and the another one in height. So that's what I'm gonna create right now. So I'm gonna put like this VW, which stands like for view part width, like window bottom, window inner. Just copy and paste here just to make our life easier. Okay. So I'll put here this here. Okay. So here we're creating VH and VW, one getting the size of our height and another getting the size of our width. Okay. And now I will be going ahead and I'll actually like create this instantiate actually the green stock. We're not gonna use it right now, and the PixiJS. So the way we do it, just like import GSAP from GSAP, import everything. This stands for everything as a pix from PixiJS, and then just try to make sure everything is working properly. I'm gonna put like a console.clear so I can use the console clear, and then we will just make sure everything's working properly. We're gonna put console like GSAP, and another one pix. Okay, and then if you come here on top, come here, have both. This one is for is green stock, as you can see, get wins, and another one is application, which stands for like the PixiJS. Great. So okay, one very important thing here when you talk about like Pix. Okay, uh, Pix, the way you like use Pix, you need to set up an application. That's why I named this class as app because it is an application. So when we say like about application, we talk about creating, for example, a app like a mobile app, game app, and that is what that we are like creating here. And then to create like this application, which this application is gonna be like using a class from Pixie. I will just copy and paste here, and I'll explain what that we are using here. You need to have like set up here our application. You need to set up the width of our application, the height of our application. This int alias in alias, it means you try to remove any kind of alias. The background alpha is actually to give some transparency between our application and the background behind of the application. In this view, it stands for actually the canvas you decide to use here in our index. Remember why I create like the main and the view? That is for this purpose. So when I came here and try to specify this size, I can go there and specify the size from that element, because let's assume we want to build this application just half of the whole view part. Instead of have to go there and do like the calculation, you can just like specify the size of the actual CSS the CSS composition. So that's why I have like main here, which is getting like the main composition, the main DOM element in the view, and inserted our application inside of this view. Okay, so I'm gonna just like move ahead a little bit, and now you'll be creating something which like it is really important. It's called like a container. As a regular HTML, we can put stuff on Pix as a container, because let's assume we have like a lot of different components, different like sprites. Like here is Mario and here's Luigi, and then you want to move them together instead of say instead of like setting up to they move individually, you can move the whole container where they are located. So that is a nice practice. So when you want to move objects together, you move the container instead of trying to move both at the same time, because that's gonna like save like some time and gonna like save us to try to keep like typing unnecessary code. So I'm gonna create like here this container. So we have here when you select put like bg container because the background container, okay? And then we have like this app stage. This app stage is coming from the app, which is like the Pix application. And stage, it is a class inside of this application, which stage is basically like a stage when you wanna perform stuff. Okay, so everything we instantiate to use inside of PixiJS, that should be applied to our stage so the render can understand there is a composition there. Because if you just like create stuff here like the container and not use it, the container say, okay, this is just like being kept in hold and going to be used later. So every time you want to render something or to see, we need to apply to this stage. Okay, so nice. So now you have here, if you come here to like console.log gs.app, you'll be able to see our application here, and then you can see like the stage. And if you come here, see all our setup. So it is always not like a nice practice to go there and do a console.log so you can understand what that we are building. And now you create something so you can see it, because so far nothing, right? So just like talking, nothing visual, right? So but this is like important, so okay, you guys can understand how things actually like work using PixiJS. Okay.
Yeah, actually, one of the main issues that I had when I was learning GSAP was the first steps. Like everything was told, all the tutorials were kind of like, yeah, so like this is how you flip something, or this is how you stagger letters, but then like how do you set it up? So this is
Yeah.
super useful.
No, but yeah, to be honest, like it is interesting because when you're talking about setting up stuff, it's just like copy and paste. The same way if you start like create like 3GS stuff, you need to set up like the camera, the render, the lights and the everything, but you're not seeing anything, right? But once you can understand how you can manage that stuff, everything is just okay. Just like take this object which is outside and put inside.
Mhm.
So that's why this whole thing here, if you understand the concept very well, everything should be like easier for you to manage. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you create sorry, my earbuds not like want to stay in my ear. Okay, so now you try to create actually something visual, which we call sprite. Okay, so I'm gonna create here, let's call function. So create sprites. Okay, I'm gonna open close here, and then just do like console.log sprite 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 function, and then here we call this function gs dot create sprites. So yeah, it is working good. So now let's create this sprite. Okay, in order to create a sprite or something visual, uh, you need to first see if it is something visual. You'll be using a texture. This texture is, for example, I have here. Let's assume I have my cell phone here, but there is no like it's completely like blank, just like this case. But I want to see what is actually paint with something, right? It's kind of like green. I want to paint with something to put the logo here. So what I have to do is just like a texture, so I can kind of like customize. So this texture could be image, could be a SVG, or could be a video. Okay. So I'm gonna just try to create this sprite, and this sprite, usually the way you create is using Pixie. So that is just like the name of my my variable, and then I have like pixie texture from, and then you put a link here. So if I open this link here, it's basically, you know, just like ISVG image. So you can put like any image you want. No, just like try to name this thing here. What's I? Uh, 00 setup pixie uh, flow bar. Yeah, so what's here? So let's keep everything. Okay, so you have here the texture, but now we have, let's put it that way. The frame, you have, you know, like the case, but you don't have the cell phone, so you can actually see it. So in order to have the cell phone, you actually need to create the sprite. You come here and like let with a variable into like sprite, and this sprite will use the texture you just created. It's called uh, this texture. Okay, so again, it is created. You should be able to see it, but it is something missing. What is missing? Add this element to stage so you can see it. This is very important because it is quite common you create stuff, but you don't put inside of the stage, so you cannot see anything. So what you can do here is, for example, come here like this app dot stage add child. There's like, and you have like sprite. Okay, so take a look here. Uh, but that is something important here because I'm put like a container on top of the sprite. So if I don't start this inside of a container, the container will be on top of everything, not be able to see it. So instead of adding actually the our sprite to stage, I will add to container so can actually use that like later on. Okay. So I will take here, add this BG container inside of the child. And now you start like actually setting up a couple of stuff here, which will be the size, the width, and the position. Okay. So just copy and paste. And put this thing here. Okay. So let's try to understand sprites. No, we're supposed to see something here. Let's try to understand why it's not showing. You do not get like any error. So this size sprite, this texture. Okay. Give me a second, just try to see what exactly is going wrong here.
No worries. This is what we want to see, actually. So when it happens to us, we know.
Yeah. No, I mean, we are supposed to see something here. Uh, I'm not sure if it's actually just like try to refresh here. Interesting. Okay.
So let's go over
So
it.
yeah, no, actually, yeah, like the crazy part is not like even rendering any error. It should be probably like something I'm doing like completely wrong here. Okay. Uh, just give me a second. Just try to revisit here the code I have to take a look at what exactly can be like wrong. So let me console.log like GSAP stage, and then stage you try to see here children is here, a container inside of children. Let's try to see if you see something. Yeah, the sprites here. So why exactly I'm not being able to see anything? This is interesting. like this back to here. Okay, our canvas now was supposed to be marked, so there's a chance it is the wrong. There's something wrong here. Main ID canvas. Canvas. Why is one being closed here? Canvas. Okay. Okay, let's take a look here. What might be wrong? Straight up the last right. Okay, canvas there. Let's try to use here. Let's try to use something. Not like changing. Let's take a look. Okay, guys, I will try just to open something here. So I'll try to investigate better and see what I can be wrong. Just 1 second, people. I know that's
Yeah,
gonna. No worries. It's
we're
gonna
watching.
work.
We're watching. Don't worry.
Okay. So okay. Hmm, where's this? Okay. I'm gonna just like copy and paste something like really similar
Hmm.
to okay, here. Yeah. Okay. So it means like the problem might not be there. Okay. Let's go. People, when you're doing stuff like in nothing start like working, you should like work for elimination.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, like when I build on Webflow, I'm usually as I'm building, I'm like publishing to check if something broke. So I don't go so much far ahead that by the time that I added like 1,000 things, I don't even know what was the problem.
No, but the problem is like here, like no, like in the basic of the basic. So not quite sure why is that like this is not like working because that was supposed to be working now. So the whole thing is here. It's just like something is missing, or like something, probably something silly is missing. Okay, I'll just like take this whole thing here and there again. Okay, so uh, just try to use this a little bit so I can like take a look. So here this constructional. This part you had, this part you also had before. This part was missing. This part was missing, and I believe that was the problem. So let's get back there to see if that was the problem. Yes, this one was the problem. Okay, so I'm gonna get back here to what you have like had like originally. Good. Okay, guys, let's see. Uh, well, okay. Seems the problem I have here. Why is this? Okay, just let me close this thing here. Okay, you have the sprite here. I just need to understand why this background is white, not black.
Mm-hmm.
although this is not gonna like change a lot of stuff here. Yeah, okay. So let's try to revisit again. I'm gonna see why this background is not black. Uh, once we start like moving forward. Okay. So why that does not was like working because of this line. Okay. So basically, I forgot to render the stage.
Mhm.
That was the problem. Sorry, guys. Okay, but now you have something. Okay, so now you have like something visual. As you can see here, this sprite. A long run to get here and just see, this kind of like circle, which was exactly like what we had here. Okay, and then here you just try to explain a little bit. So you have like this sprite size, which is sprite size is my viewport size, just 10% of my viewport size. And then here you set up the width, which I want it to be like squared. So for example, let's assume I want this to be squared for like here, and then you see the height, is half of the sprite size. And it is when you are dealing with something squared, as we're dealing here, it is always nice for you to try to set up the size in a different variable. And then what we're doing here, because it is important to understand, for example, I'm gonna just like remove this a little bit. Everything inside of PixiJS starts from the corner, from the top and left. So you need to keep this in mind. Unfortunately, don't have no like display flag, so you can put like center, and this in the center, this in the middle. So what I try to do here is I will take this sprite and take the position, and then I will make some calculation. This calculation would be you take the size of the viewport, width, and height, and divide by 2. And then we'll take the size of the element itself and divide by 2 as well, so can put that in the center. Okay? So it is the same concept when you are trying to center something with the position absolute. The way you would do it, okay, maximum, would you like take the compo the element and say, hey, take half of the screen and now half of the composition. So it's gonna be like center and center. So that is exactly what we did here, but using, of course, a link the PixiJS language, right? So I'm gonna come here, and then it is always interesting to investigate if you put like sprite here, console.log sprite, and then you'll be able to see some valuable information about the sprite and a couple of things you can do with it. So here you can see like the alpha, the bounds, the height, because of course here I don't know is that the height or the width. So here you can see if it is a match. For example, here you have like width and height, and a couple of other really important, really interesting parameters which like you'll be used like later. So okay, now you have the sprites, you can see something visual, but boring. Nothing happened here, okay? Unfortunately. So what you do now, you use like this whole thing as our setup. I'll just like keep this thing here. Uh, let's remove this one here. I'll just like try to clean up a little bit. So and then you use this one as a setup. Okay. So now you have our first Pixie application. After this long run, you have like our first Pixie application, and then you start like moving forward to create like something a little bit like more interesting. Okay, so what we will do here now is fork, so can keep this version and move to the next version without like losing. If something goes wrong, we have like another version here. So just like forked the first version. I put here set up like one, and then you might like try to use now the next step we're trying to do is try to create like more elements of this whole circle here. So I will change instead of setup like multiple elements. Okay. Okay, so now you have like this sprite. Let's now have this sprite. I'm gonna open like my app again. You have this sprite, and I want to just like multiplicate that. So the first thing I try to do, I just like copy and paste like a code here, and they'll explain what like this code is doing. Move here. Okay. Just like refresh.
Oh, somebody in the comments say, and Kenna says, I think the background is in black because the CSS wasn't imported.
Uh, yes, yes, that is a good catch. Thank you. Thanks so much. That is exactly it. So, what I'll try to do here. Thanks so much, guys. So basically, yeah, I'll just like import the whole thing here again. Okay, great. So I'll just try here to open. So now I have like this sprite here. Let's take a look. So now what we're trying to create here is try to multiplicate the amount of sprite you had. Just like remove here a little bit. So just and then I copy this thing here as well. Like the Okay, so I'll just like remove this thing from here. Let's try to break it down what's happening here. Okay, so as our preview version, you had here like the sprite and actually like the size, which is still like the same size. And now you are trying to multiplicate here, use like some calculation. I'll just like try to hide this a little bit, put this thing here. So here you're doing like a for loop, and this for loop is actually running from 0 to 100, and you're using like modules, as you can see here, to define, to spread all all of our elements. When you create for just like for example, put like here one, you have one in the middle. If I put here for example like uh 25, you have 10 columns, and try to spread them in 10 rows as well. So, but of course, because it's not like reminder of one another, you not have like exactly the same, exact like square shape. So, for example, if you put here 25, the reminder the modules would be like 5, and then you have I squared. So watch this whole calculation here uh, will do like it does. It just try to spread them come from the center. Okay, so just like
Mhm.
get back here, and if you really want to have like something like a squared shape, you need to use like the modules and try to use like the reminder in order to multiply them evenly. So I'll put like 100 here, and of course 100 would be 10 because 10 times 10 is 100. Okay, so now you have this whole thing here. Okay, and here, as you can see, because as I said before, the whole composition starts from the top left to the top left, top and left. You need to move our BG container, our container to the center as well. So when they select spread, it doesn't come, like direct to the corner. So if I comment this part here, you guys will understand what I'm talking about. Just like remove, just okay, let's try to, so you guys can see.
Mhm.
So that would be what would happen. They start spreading here when you have our sprite, but the container is still there. So you need to move our container as well. That's why you have here. Okay, these 4 lines just to align the container in the center. And then now you try to not to animate them so you can see something actually like interesting and like happening. And it is important to you guys might be wondering right now, but Victor, why I'm doing this whole thing here, which I can maybe like easily get done by CSS and like just use like our normal structure. Because for example, we're gonna try to animate them now. And if you are animate this amount of composition using CSS or even JavaScript directly on the DOM elements, that will be very costly to the browser, which means your animation will be extremely heavy. And if somebody is like a not like powerful device, this person probably gonna like be stuck there because it is a lot of pixel moving around at the same time. So I'm gonna remove here, and then what you have here is this kind of like it's just like this scale. We are like scaling right now 100 elements in the plex some delay so they kind of get staggered. So I mean, I
Wow.
think which like start things start like getting like a little bit like more interesting, right? For from here you can easily see, for example, payloader. You can like apply these like of course you need to be creative. For example, if those are like square instead of a rounded, you would like be able to kind of have like a transition between page. And that is like the path we're going to try to do now. We're going to try to create this whole composition here as a transition between page so you can try to have a little bit like more interesting experience going from a page to another. Okay, so
So
now you have
so basically Sprite is what's going to build like the structure and then you move it using GSAP.
yes. For example, if you come here, I will try like just to go like to PixiJS again and select some examples. Come here, examples. For example, we have like something like similar to what we have on right now,
Mhm.
and come here to sprite. You can see we have just one sprite, and the way they are change things using like some kind of ticker, which is kind of
Mhm.
like a loop. So have like texture, you can click and change the texture. So just like trying to answer your question, this sprite is just like one element you can use inside of like the Pix ecosystem. But for our demo right now, you're completely right. You use like those sprite and spread them, use the like a texture so you can start manipulate them with green sock or even use some WebGL components to give a little bit like more interesting look, which I will show like shortly uh, about how you can make this whole thing here a little bit like more distorted. Okay, so
Wow.
now you have this like composition here, which we have like this animation, and then for example here I just like trying to do like to scale them. So let's assume I would like uh, to move them from one point to another. Can you just have two sprites position, and then you decide which position you're using. You're gonna use like X and move, I don't know, 100 pixel duration, 5 delay, Y.
Do you use GSAP a lot?
Yes, the SAP is not like so. As you can see here now, I have like delay and everything like is moving. And if
That
you
is
take a
so
look,
sick.
they are moving to like to the same spot because that is interesting to understand. You are still like using coordinates, which means if there are all going to the same coordinate, they will be like stacked on top of one another. And because you set them in a different like y position, they've been stacked in different columns. So for example, let's assume I want to change them to stagger them to a different position, but following the position they are, I could like use green sock to tell, hey, I want you to get the position, your current position, and add this next
Oh,
step. So I'm gonna come here and say, hey, Misak, I want to get the current position and add, for example, here 100 again. Put here delay.
oh, I love
Yeah,
that. There's just so
so
many
this,
possibilities.
yeah. So and then as you can see here, uh, are you even like this is public, guys? If you guys want to take a look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna copy the link here and drop in the chat so guys like see it, and try to take a look like how it's moved, and you are moving like so many pixels at the same time. And I can even like go crazy and change this to I don't know like 300 and just try to decrease a little bit the size so you can see them better.
Wow. 300 is like so much faster and
Yes,
cool.
you also have like this whole thing here moving, and you don't lose performance at all. That is
Wow.
one like that is one of like the possibilities you can have actually using PixiJS because you can move like so many elements without like losing a frame. So okay, getting back to our original goal. So now what we will do here is try to connect this whole thing. For example, use like the same setup you have on Webflow. Okay, so I'm gonna open here uh, Webflow design. How can I dashboards? Another thing that I was trying to do is okay. You might have here. What I will do here, I'll take like this thing. So for example, let's get here for example this icon grid because there's a huge chance you don't want to like just create those elements based on whatever result you do with your calculations. You want those elements to actually clone the position of, of a currently composition have on our structure. So for example, if I come here, what I have here is like a list, and this list, which list has this kind of, item, and which item has an image.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what you do here, are you kind of publish this thing again, and I just like copy and paste this icon grid up here. So what I will do here, I will just like inspect, and then I will come here and copy this whole thing, copy element, and I will paste there. But
Oh.
before I will just like fork this thing again so I can create like a different one. Put here uh, two multiple elements Webflow. Just like remove here. Cool. Okay. Just like refresh. So now I come like for like my let's think here, and then you have like as you can see because our application is positioned
On
fixed.
top.
It is on top of everything, and this is so much mess. Like, I try just can't work with this whole thing. I'm gonna just try to uh, go up here, tab. I just try, like to make this a little bit more organized because as here cannot see,
Mm-hmm.
things proper. So just like copy and paste, put here again, remove this one, put this one. Okay, same thing, but a little bit like better. And I also want, like to have some the same style. So I just like copy and paste the thing I have here, which should be the CSS, right? I believe it is or not. Uh, or like reviewing a new tab. So copy this thing here and come here and duplicate this one. Post here. I see. Okay. Now it's better, right? Like it's kind of like following almost like the same elements have there. I have some. I hope in my flow. I do have some CSS aimed, which I wanted to like just to put there, so you can um, have it a little like more organized. Okay, and then great. So what I will do here, you just like get the lies, and I will fulfill my entire page with them. So just like multiplicate that. So now I have this grid of icon. Okay, cool. Now, how exactly would we be able, to actually get these whole things here and apply exactly the same position? Because we want to have those elements, which now is just more like DOM elements, as fixed elements, so can move them without like losing performance. So you open our app here. One thing I will do, I will create a new variable. This variable is going to be like this DOM, and then put here and then get like icons and document dot query selector all, and I will just like copy one of them, which is gonna be the image. Okay, so I have here. So now you have them. Just not like get it like to distract. I'm gonna just put this thing here, remove them a little bit, and then what we'll do, we'll try to wrap everything you have here inside of a loop. And this loop, you basically this loop will be on top instead of like being this loop like crazy just create here because of course don't have like 300 elements. You create a loop on top of the amount of icons you have in your DOM, our DOM element, which would be like this uh, DOM icons for each and like element and get like the index if you want to use, and then open our thing here. And then what you do is try to move everything to top, but I just like copy and paste because I already did that, and that's gonna be like my remove a couple of parameters. I don't want that to happen, so just like copy and paste, so don't lose more of our time. So I'm gonna remove this thing from here. Okay, remove this. Okay, here. I'll remove this loop from here, and I will also like remove this background container. And let's see if they're like on top. We're gonna just take this thing here and let's put like maybe like opacity 0. Okay, and now it's not like actually like work. Let's try to understand what like is happening here. Let's create this VW. Let's see. Just try to figure out why the like is not rendering, and then like I explain why I don't like be able to see anything here. There's no or like copy the whole thing. That would make more sense. Oh, of course, that was the problem. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so let's before we see like this whole thing happening, let's try to understand what exactly what I did here. Okay, so uh, basically, when you're like now because we're talking with, we're not even like put this like together. Well, I don't know like comment this one here, and then so you can actually like see it, the whole thing. So this is a little bit messy, but I will try to like to explain. So basically, what we're doing here, remove this again. So what we're doing here, uh, we are talking with each icon, and because we're talking with each icon, you can use get bound client direct. Not sure if you guys are aware about like this API. So if you got here like get bounding client direct, uh, what it does, it will give the value of this element on our viewport, which will give us exactly the coordinates, use like y and x, left on top and bottom, and the width and the height. So you can get all information we need to create our composition following the same, exactly like the same coordinates you have from our DOM. So for example, if I come here, I'm gonna put this one, it's just like see it's not like falling actually because I changed a couple of stuff here, but now because of this anchor, I'm gonna explain why we are using like this anchor like in a couple of like shortly. Because if you're not using like this anchor here, you see you might not like be able to notice, but they're like exactly one on top of another. And
Mm-hmm.
for example, so you can take a look. I'm gonna like increase 10 pixels. So can you see there's like they're moving along?
Mm-hmm.
For example, this is the
And the
width.
other
Gonna
one's
just
underneath.
yeah. See, and I'm moving like slowly so can guys see, they're like actually like following exactly the same, and you don't need to like try to calculate where exactly each thing can like should be because this get bound client track is doing for us. So basically here what we're trying to do, is just like here I'm getting like this information, size, width, left, top, because when I run this code here, that is the information we have. For example, if I come here and like console.log bounds, that's gonna give like a lot of information, just like hides in here. Uh, I'm gonna push, like increase here. So here we have this bounds from the first element, which
Mm.
is we have like the x coordinate, where exactly this is in x, y, the width, height, top, right, and that is the information needed. Okay, so I'm gonna just like close down this a little bit, and after that we are using the image source to get exactly the link you have because those are pictures, right? So I have like pictures here, and then I want to print exactly the same picture. Because, for example, before we had just one picture, which was like the texture. So, for example, if I come here and copy like the texture which we were using before, which is kind of like the thunder. Here is like this texture. You have the thunder. So you use the one, but now you have like this
The whole
dynamic
thing.
image coming from directly from the image you are copying paste. Okay. So I'm gonna remove this one here. I'm gonna remove like the console. So now we have everything aligned. You can come in here and just like put the opacity again so they don't kind of like conflict with one another, even they're like exactly in the same position. So you have everything we had before as DOM element, but now in PixiJS. So again, a word of
Possibilities are endless. Yeah.
a word of possibilities. Okay, so but here's the thing. One thing you need to keep in mind. I will run the same code you are using before, which like the scale, so they can like scale like from 0 to the original size, and then you see a problem you have here. It's like, so what is the problem here we have? The problem we have here is just like they are moving from the left, the top corner, because everything starts there. In order to kind of like solve this problem, we need to use anchor. Because, so let's try to assume if you are using SVG, the SVG itself starts from the top in the left corner, right? And then you would like to change where they should like be scaling. You take the anchor, which like is here, and put in the middle. And for doing that, you like just get to sprite, anchor, and set half, because here the position is 0 and 0, and here is 1 and 1. So half 0.5 would be like exactly in the middle. And that is what exactly we are doing here. So now you have something like a really like more interesting, right? As you can see, you are having a kind of this, like very like funky and staggered elements, which as you can see here, we are going from scale 3 to scale 1. So you need to understand the scale. They will not like be one by one, as you have like in GreenSock regular animation, which like if it's 0 is 0, if it's like the normal size, which would be 1, here it will be like dot 1. Actually, it does depend a little bit of the size of your sprites as well. Let me see why it's not like running. See, now I have
Oh,
like
that
something like
one's cool.
yeah, so a little like more similar. So that's like what we had like originally before. So basically, you just like run like a simple animation, and now you try to apply animation for that position, which now they're like animating from the same position. And I want them to
Hmm.
animate like from the bottom, from the top to the bottom. Just like move here to what it was before, 3 or
So cool.
now you have like this staggered animation, which to be honest, people might ask and say like, Victor, I would be able to do it like without PixiJS. Yes, of course, you're like more than capable to do it without JS. You just need to be sure you animate like I don't know like how many elements you have now, but a lot of like elements at the same time, and that's gonna be really like cost to the performance. But here we have like this kind of like seamless and very like performatic animation, and now we have like this rotation. So because here we have like the scale, the position, and now you have like the rotation.
Wow. Yeah,
So
there's just so much you can do with this.
yes,
Like
but
I just feel it's just a lot of practice, to get it like to the point that
yeah,
you know exactly like what you need to move, what are the assets you need, and then do the sequence.
exactly, exactly. So if you take a drone, if you understand, of course, I take like longer because I'm trying to be like very detailed and on top of everything. So like the code sometimes not like work the way I want it. But if you try to take a look here, we are using like less than 6 lines of code, which it is to move that much of pixel around and it's very like performatic way. It is really, really not like a low amount of code for do this kind of like interaction. So now you have something a little bit like more appealing, something a little bit like more interesting, but you can go further. You can
Mhm.
really like go further. And what you try to do now is just trying to remember why you are using Pixie. You're using Pixie because you want to create something using WebGL. And using WebGL give us a word, an endless word of possibility.
Mhm.
So which like will get us to move to the next stage, which is actually talking about filters and shaders. So we're gonna like just like remove this animation for a while, for now, a little bit. No, let's keep like things the way they were before. And I will fork so you can have like another version. Just fork here, and then now you have the version 3. And now let's talk about like filters. Okay, so I have like filters, a new version. It is running. And when you talk about filters, of course, we can easily, create. If of course, if you're knowledgeable enough, you can create your own shaders, your own, your own effect. And if you have a chance to go to Shader Toy, they have like some really cool effects. Use like shaders. So like for example, this whole thing here is like WebGL, and they probably like just like using shaders to get like for the same specific look. But of course, that would like require a lot of understanding of math and that kind of stuff. And sometimes you don't, you just can get there like easily. To be honest, it's not like really complex. It's like I'm still like studying, but still like like the run to get there. So if you want to see more what you can do with shaders and try to create your own custom shaders, you can come here, or you can go to the book of shaders, which it is a excellent like source of learning. So here they like explain everything, so you can don't start like create like your own effects. But if there's something like really amazing about Pixie, people they went ahead and they create like effects for us. So if I go here to this link, you can see several amount of shaders and effects, always using all of them using Pixie. Even if I can like even like open here Pixie filters GitHub. Here they are showing which kind of filter, what exactly it does there. Just like come here. So have like this adjustment, what this adjustment filter does, and then have like advanced blur, have like bevel, bloom filter, have like all of those cool effects which can do. Just like go to show like some of them like briefly, so you can take so you can understand what I talk about. So have like displacement filter here, you can like disable. Now you can see things not like being like stored anymore. We have like this build punch filter, so you can like create this
That's
kind of like
so cool.
budge eyes, and then like remove the strength, can like remove where this is getting, you know. So for example, I'm gonna like just show another one I really like here. It is uh, the shockwave filter. The shockwave filter is the same filter I used on my portfolio. Of course,
Mm.
of course, I need to customize a little bit, but
Oh, look at
it's
that.
actually, so I don't just like here can you have some parameters, so like some brightness,
Wow.
and you can actually like combine of this. So now you have this one, and let's assume we want to use like some old movie filter. See, like in all of that stuff, because there is like WebGL. So that is why it is not like really nice for us to bring our environment to create to bring like our application to environment where you can like explore very creative, right? And if you take a look here, we are like using now four different filters. They're all combined, and you have like this really interesting look. So there's like so much you can do it. You don't even know how is that restart, right? So in this kind of situation, the best way to go is just try to start simple, experiment stuff here, and then you start like progressing slowly.
Mhm.
Okay. So now let's try to apply those filters, of course, not all of them, to our application, the application we have here right now, right? So one thing we need to understand, Pix, it doesn't come with these filters, under the hood. So you need to actually install another dependency, which would be like Pixie filters. If you install like Pixie filters here, you'll be installing all of those filters. And if you of course, understand a little bit more about like modules and everything, and you use like some bundler like Webpack or Vite, you can just import from all of those filters the one you're using. But otherwise, you can, if you're just like try to experiment them, you can actually like install directly the one you're like interested. For example, I was like talking about like the shockwave, you can like just install the shockwave one. But I
Mm.
install all of them right now because like you know pushing is like for production, there's no
We
problem.
want to
You
have
can just like
options.
yeah.
We always want to
So
have options.
why not, right? So okay, so now here we have you're installing, which like probably should like be done by now, just because the parcel here sometimes take a little bit like longer. So now you have actually you do have the filters, just like need to instantiate them. And how you instantiate the filter? You can go, for example, there in GitHub, uh, GitHub filters. If you come here, and if you click in the one you're like interested to use, for example, the one you're like using right now would be like the shockwave filter. The same one I'm using like on my website. So you click like view them. That's gonna like go to the same page with the with the filter applied, or you can actually go to the documentation. If you go here, you can select the documentation here, and then you can choose the one you're like interested. And here in the documentation, you just need to follow the step by step, and that's gonna give you like how you can use it, right? So here, the way you should like be able to use is just to come here and create a new Pix instance, use like filter. But before, let's just try to import them. The way we import is not like super simple. Do almost the same way we did like GreenSock. Just come here underneath Pix, import Shockwave filter, which that is the name, Shockwave filter from Pixie filter. Okay. So now you have instantiated, and you now let's create here a new function. Let's create a function first. Let's move it a little bit like further. Like create filter. Good. And then create filter. And then the way you usually like import, you can like take a look here, is add this to this filter, for example, or like shock filter to be like more specific. You can like use different filters equal new, and then you take like the name, which is here, and put it here, and then you have the options. And then every time you use like a new filter, you can come here and see these options here. Center. When they say center, it means where exactly the filter should be located. Because the filter, for example, you are seeing like the filter here, right? It's kind of like having like this explosion effect, but this is like starting from the middle, which they say for default is the middle. Like dot five, half, right? So And always remember things start from 0 and 0 coordinate. And then you have this first one to be like the position, and then you have like options. The options could be like amplitude, wavelength, and all of those options you have here. And after that, you have time. When you put like instantiate the time, it means that's gonna like run, looping through the time you actually like decide here. But we're not gonna do this like automatically. We want to do when the user interaction with it, like a click or anything. So just like copy and paste uh, one snippet I have here, so it can like save time. Now explain what it does. So until here, the same you had, and now we have this v here. I'm like setting that in the middle, so that's why we create those two variables here, because we'll be using them like you will like be using them a lot. So instead of every time try to use like window inner height or inner width, just like can just like talk to them. And if you want to actually like resize properly, because right now, as you can see, it's not like resized the way it should, because it is kind of like like applying to it is kind of like applying to the first for the first time you have here. So what you have to do is create like a resize function. I'm not gonna go there because a little bit like complex to rescale everything. We can like I can explain in another time, but that would be like something guys that can go further and try to explore by yourselves. But using this using like VW and VH or whatever name you want to put, it is like really helpful for that specific purpose. Okay, so now we have here the center, and then you have the options, amplitude, length, and everything. And you're not like being able to see anything because again, you didn't apply this to the container or the stage. So I'm gonna copy and paste this thing here, and now you might be able to see something. Okay, can you see like a slightly
Mm-hmm.
you can notice here better. There's some kind of like things like glitching here, some kind of like artifacts. But can you see in the middle here, things start getting a little bit like closer. For example, if you see the size of this one and size of this one, they're not the same. And here on the top you can see as well, which means the filter is already there. But because it is static, you can't see anything, right? So, and then you can start like playing with those numbers. For example, if I come here and put like a higher number, now you have like something stronger. If you're come here and then you have like something like smaller, you have a different looking. So now you have like the web shell with like filters and shaders working with our composition. And what we'll do now is using Grissock to animate those values so you can get like something a little bit like more interactive, something a little like more visual appealing. Although I can say, for example, let's assume you have this stage, this phase you are seeing right now. If you start like moving stuffs here, those animations of each icon will be applied underneath of this filter. So for example, if I come here and like try to
Wow. Did you
what's
use
the
did you use this effect on the Contra website?
yes, yes, I use this effect in the control website. Yeah.
Yeah, Carter
So
just shared it on the chat and we were just looking at it.
yeah. So if you take a look here, that is like one effect you had, just like applying this, I don't know, 8 line of code. And then have like this interesting effect. And now, but of course, we still like can go further. What we'll do here is animate those values. So I'm gonna just copy here and create an animation for them. I'm gonna come here, it's animation, and now you have like something happening here actually. So what I will do is just like change with like 0.3 is 1.3, And then we have exactly the same effect of the video I shared with you guys yesterday.
Wow. Sick.
So as you can see here, just like applying like this just applying this motion here with like using resock, you now have something like a little bit like more interesting. So, but let's try to go a little bit like further. I will just like apply here some padding. So try to remove a little bit like the artifacts of everything. So and then what I will do now is try to apply. Let's apply all of those stuff here to see what that like can have. Of course, now they are kind of like deleting in another, but I will just try to remove this one here. So now can I do like start like experimenting and play with stuff? Of course, this is like seems like like to shake it to praise, but now it's just like a matter trying to find the right spot so can try to explore and think where you can use that kind of stuff because when you're talking about motion, one point which like make me like try to be like like highlighted in the field just because I spend so much time experimenting and try to find the perfect spot. And of course, we need to invest a little bit more time in order to get there. So now it's just a matter of like try to experiment stuff. So what I will do here, I will now just create something a little like more interactive. So I'm gonna copy and paste a couple of codes here. One of those will be uh, a click event. So because of course you don't wanna this whole thing like running by itself like crazy. You want to know like the user to actually like trigger this stuff. So I'm gonna just like copy and paste everything here. Now like replace the code you just changed just to make sure it's harder. Uh, let's see, filter. I think it is missing a fruit. Okay. Okay. Now the same, and then I just like copy and paste stuff here as well. If so, can you understand? It is basically all the same stuff. It's just like changed some values inside. For example, here I put like 100, 600. So can like get to experimentation I did like before. So can like because of course this is something you can like start like experimenting, trying, change one thing here, another thing here, until you find something which suits you. So I did that earlier, and of course I'm gonna like keep trying because you guys have more things to do as well. So I'm just like copy and paste a different value here so you can actually get to something a little bit like more realistic so you can actually like apply to a potential a potential a potential project. So the only thing like the main thing I create here now, which like it was different from the things you had before, is like create a bind event, which this bind event is like just like try to create an event for click. So we click uh every time you click here the buy that's gonna like fire something just gonna like put here this like call this function bind event. So maybe like put like alert here. Hey, so it is going there. Okay, and one important thing like I have to mention here. Okay, so now I just like tweaked a little bit those parameters, and then I paused the animation because we don't want them to start by itself. We want to actually we be able to fire them. So I put like this pause true. and I added the animation to a variable. So you can do like top of this variable every time you want to fire this animation. And I did the same thing here for each scale for that each icon. So that's why I create like the pause it through here. And then now you have some delay, and I create as well one variable to allocate all of those timelines, because right now you have one timeline for each element,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if you want to fire them all at once, you need to talk with all of them. So I allocate them in an array, and this array is kind of like pushing each timeline here. Okay, so basically that is like uh, the difference between the prior version and this version we have right now. So what I will do now is just try to uncomment this one here. And here what we are doing is like change the color of the background to black, which is the one we currently have. And then you're triggering the timeline for the filter. And then for each sprite, you're triggering the timeline starting from the 0 second. By the way, by the really like the beginning, from like the 0 second. So that will start like from exactly the point when they're like black. So I will just try to so uh, and then after 1 second and 8 milliseconds, we will try to reverse everything back. Which what we're trying to do here right now is just like simulate a transition between page. When you have
Mm.
something underneath this pixie composition, and then we review the whole composition, change the page, or it could be, like revealing some information, revealing a modal, revealing, a pop-up, revealing anything you desire, and then move back to the stage we were before. Okay, so let's see how that would work. Just come here. So now you have the black, and then you click it, and then change. You're gonna just like try to make this a little like bigger, so you can like see and just try to imagine. Here we have like some element, like a page, and then you click it, you cover everything, and go to the next page.
Oh my
So
God.
that is not like something like really powerful we can do with being honest here, like how many like of course, for example, if you have here like fully covering everything, what you can do is just come on here like for index and grab more elements, which to be honest, the amount of elements you have here is almost nothing. You can come here and now you should like be able to, okay, let's just understand. It's like uh, refresh again, come here. So now you're covering the whole thing. And every time you click it, you have no like this whole stagger animation with the filter applied and some like distorted animation as well, kind of like revealing from stage A to stage B. So yeah, so that was like the demo I've created to try like to express and show a little bit my knowledge about PixiJS. And a lot of like people they usually just trying to ask me why sometimes use like PixiJS instead of 3JS, which like we are kind of like able to like to do similar stuff. And that is usually like PixiJS, it is more, I'd say, appropriate if you use like only 2D elements, and you're for trying actually to create animations which will be rendering a lot of image or lot of like sprite in sequence. And of course, 3JS would like be like of course, appropriate if you're like trying to create like a 3D environment.
Wow. That was freaking amazing.
I hope you guys like. Of course, like you're just trying to scramble here and there because of the code, and I would like all of those uh, all of everything you just made here. You can go to my sandbox and you'll be able to see it. So come here, profile. So everything you can like ignore the stuff here is showing right now, but everything's there. So yeah, just like can go to my code sandbox, and then you can like fork it everything, so you can have your own version for everything.
Wow, thank you so much, Victor. Everybody's like, whoa, like master class. Everybody loved it. So thank you so, so much for giving us your time. Is there any questions people have? Whoever wants to talk to Victor, just like unmute yourselves.
Yes, guys, I'm here, to hear you. If you have like any question, suggestion or anything, uh, okay, blocked everything here.
Um,
Yeah, I got a question actually.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi Victor. Thanks a lot for sharing your knowledge on here. So I just basically wanted to know, like, what are the resources that you use to learn? How do you make time to learn and improve? And if you just share a bit of like, your journey from starting and learning all of this stuff and becoming as good as you are.
Okay, so that is an interesting question. Like my journey was something like extremely, like unusual. As I said, I come from the design background, and I actually decided to be developer for necessity, and because I was like extremely, like pissed off of dealing with developer who will not be able to deliver the websites the way I design. So I said like, screw this. I want to be able to build the whole thing by myself. And that's why, I said, okay, I'm gonna like learn how to code. And the most like interesting thing, how I actually like started coding was with GreenSock. So I started, like coding with JavaScript
Oh, wow.
because as I said before, I was just like dealing with a no code tool called like Adobe Muse, and this 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 tool wasn't like very like capable to do much with animations. So I started like doing like some resource to find how I could like get things moving around in a very like pleasant way. So and then I found like GreenSock, but was like JavaScript, and I said, oh my god, now I have to do it like code. And then I started like like learning here, learning there, and then I start like actually like building, animations, just try to import JavaScript inside of the information, like the tool I was using before. And but the tool is still like very limited. I want to do like more. I want to do create like immersive experience. And of course, when you're talking about a tool which you cannot like actually understand how things are working under hood, and when I'm telling that I mean like try to understand, navigate through the code, we it's still like very limited. So and then I said, what, let's try to learn the whole thing and do like everything from scratch. So that is like how I became a kind of like front end developer, with like a really strong background for design as well.
That is so cool. So you basically started from animation.
Yes, I start like my career as a developer start like with animation.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah, because to be honest,
Interesting.
I was not know the kind of person like this coding thing should be like very stressful. Should be like very I don't want to deal with that. If something breaks, I don't know how to fix. Like as we had there, but somehow I found it was like very therapeutic. And then I just like kept going.
Hmm. Wow. Any other questions? No?
No?
I feel like
Okay.
this is probably very similar to what Nkena asked, but this is me trying to pry deeper as well. Are there any particular resources or people that you could recommend, saying if we want to get, deeper dive into PixiJS or whatnot? Is there any particular resource you think you learned through that others could follow?
Okay. Yes. Um, I will be very honest. Like people, they frequently ask me, like, "Hey, Victor, can you give me like some resource which I could like easily say, for example, talk about like animation interactions. You can like, for example, go to words and see some reference you have there. If you want to know like even to learn from uh, how to build like interactive like websites. If you're talking like about 3JS, you can actually like go to Bruno Simon and do like his course. So you do have like for example, you do have like several for like source to learn, but to be extremely honest with you guys, if you guys want to actually highlight yourself in the industry, you should be like less focused in where you're looking uh, a material or knowledge, but try to understand what is that you want to learn and try to invest a considerable amount of time mastering something that makes sense to you because I can get you here and say, hey, uh, go and follow this person or go to this specific place. But one one thing like my experience became really challenge is how you can actually like compile all of the information in a sense where you can actually like extract and build something meaningful. My way to learn, the way like I learned was learning on demand. So I didn't like start learning about PixiJS because I liked PixiJS. I didn't start even like learning Beanstalk because I liked Beanstalk. I started because I had like a necessity to build something using that specific tool. And that can be applied as well when you talk about like resource because you have like the resource there, but where will you use it, right?
Hmm.
Why exactly are you like learning this or learning this just because it's in school or learning this because you actually need to apply this in a project? So try my advice would be like learn something on demand and then try to understand what exactly you are doing and don't try to master or to follow everybody or like to be there in the bubble just because things there are working but try to understand what works for you and for your client and try to make this like this effort count every second.
Um, somebody has a question here. Um, what's your favorite or and least favorite thing about what you do?
Okay, this is like what I really like about like something matters development or design is to see how my clients or people who are interacting with my projects, how they react and how that kind of like become like helpful for them, for my clients, for the goal could be like actually improve their visibility in the market or sell a product or sell information. And for people who are like seeing how like it is really nice to receive some feedbacks when they just came to me like Victor, seeing your website made my day because it was like something really cool or something like really like engaged. I really like. So this is something like I really like. I like to see how the work Victor the work Victor does, kind of like change people life. Could be in a really meaningful manner, or just like because they went there and they saw a really like interesting animation. And what I don't like the most is the I'm in a position right now, which it is a position which my clients they came to Victor expecting Victor to build a robot. which I'm not quite there yet. One day maybe, but so you know, there's like a lot of I say like a lot of pressure to always try to build something which like is extremely, you know,
Yeah.
like not the like there's like innovation, you know, something like really like breathtaking, and of course I want to be able to provide like that feeling as much as I can, but my work requires a lot of my creative like part of my brain work, which
Yeah.
as I believe like the most of people here they work for design, we know being creative is not like the creativity is not always there,
Yeah.
right?
It turns
And
on and when on and off. And when you have it, you have to run and do it.
yes, and then when you are under pressure, things get way worse. So one thing I really don't like in my position right now is because I'm in this position, which like you know I'm like really glad because it is a kind of like a reflect of my work. But now my clients they came to me just you know trying to Victor to create something which like they don't even know what they are looking for. So sometimes I have to define clients like, okay, Victor, that is what you have to do, and then I deliver. Is that what they want me to deliver? And of course, I try to do like the nicest way possible. And then they were like, you know, kind of like upset because the thing they asked me, which like I didn't have no like something like extremely, you know, like extra, which again, uh, of course, you want to find and to search for the excellence, but not always you'll be able to reach, especially if you're under pressure.
Yeah. Is there anything you wish you could go back and tell yourself when you were getting started and don't
Yes,
do it?
yeah, that's like a really interesting question. Like, um I would like to get back and just like tell myself on how important it is to be concise when you are dealing with projects. You know, I'm a person who is like really passionate about what I do, so I was just try to keep pushing myself. But sometimes that is not like the most appropriate thing to do, right? Sometimes you need to know like just to go there, be concise, deliver, you know, try to be like
Do you wait, do
very
you mean consistent? Like like consistent like
no,
deliverables and
no,
stuff like
no,
that?
no, 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 no. It's like concise. It's like concise. Like for example, I have to create like a slider, which is slider. It is like following a prototype, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which so the prototype is there. We just need like to actually deliver what is there,
Mm,
right? But that's not
okay.
how sometimes I work. I work, you know, I want to deliver what is there, but I want to implement something. I want to experiment something. And again, most of my work this concept applies very well, but sometimes this put me in a position when the clients just like keep pushing because they so okay, Victor went an extra mile, so he can walk a little bit more. And
Mm-hmm.
again, try to you know, like deal with like a lot of clients. Sometimes you just can't just keep extending, you know, your limits because you also need other things to do priority as well.
You know, that's interesting. My partner Ty, he has the same issue. Like for there's projects and he will always want to go above and beyond. But like sometimes there's no time or there's no budget for that. And
Yeah.
even though I know the result is going to be amazing, you kind of have to think about it also from like the business side. Like you can't just like, over deliver every single time and like everything, because then, there's clients that are just like rushing all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Which
Um, how many clients do you take at a time?
maximum two.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, interesting. That's
maximum
cool.
two. Yeah, maximum two. Even because um, it is interesting. I was like, you know, talk with one collaborator yesterday, and I'm like, to be honest, now I am in a transition in my career when I will try to sell more of my time and more of like products. So I'm
Yeah.
like really engaged in order to create like special like digital products. Uh, and don't know, I had to, in order to keep going with that plan, I need to refuse some projects,
Of course,
which
I'm sure.
because of course you need to know like, okay, you want to follow for this direction, you need to keep walking that direction, and you, I'm just one person, right?
Hmm.
So and then it was interesting because become to a point I was just like handling, start to handle like to handle just personal projects, and when we are talking about, you know, like delivering like a lot of like uh, high end project, we are talking about working the time you are working, but working after to do like a brainstorm to see how you can like manage excellence, because that is how Victor works. You know, like that is like how Victor wants to proceed with like their like his project. I want
Hmm.
to do like push myself. I want to create something like really like meaningful, not for my client, but for Victor as a professional, so I can take a look and feel proud of myself.
Hmm.
And you, if you're handling like more than two clients at a time, it is impossible to
Very rushed.
apply it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
even noticed it, like for everybody here, just to give you a little behind the scenes of like planning this party. Like, usually special guests are like, yeah, sure, I'll come, and maybe they'll prepare something, but you are so intentional with everything you do. Like, you wanted to make sure that you were prepared for this, that everything was set up, that you were able to provide the best value ever. So that's something very
yeah.
admirable.
Yeah, I mean, you are here, you can tell, no, like you're trying to schedule this for a little bit. Like, so, no, but hold on a second, I'm getting there, I'm getting
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I am actually the opposite from you, because I am more of the mindset of like, ship it and then I'll perfect it. And that's how the flow party started. Like, I didn't really plan anything. I just went on Twitter and said, let's do a party to learn Webflow. And then it kind of like snowballed to what it is today. But even though I love perfect work and I admire that from people, like, that's something that I can't do, because then I will never finish it. And then by the time that I'm ready to finish it, I don't like it anymore. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
get
no,
like
yes, I
tired of
definitely
it.
understand. Yes, yes, I definitely understand. To be honest, at the beginning, I was not like kind of working in that way, but unfortunately, or fortunately, the position, you know, I'm fulfilling right now, I just can't,
Of course.
because
Yeah.
because for example, okay, I want like just to deliver something, and uh, when you're trying to, you know, to actually like build something on top of your name, people don't
Well,
want to.
yes. Yeah, that's different. I mean, obviously, like for projects for clients, they have to be perfect. But like when it's something like community related or something that's like a personal project, sometimes we just say like, ship it, because then if not, you won't get it done.
To be honest, it is something, you know, I should like be applying my more. I need to know like to keep like find a mid ground, and that is something, you know, like it is kind of like work in progress process for me, because I came from always, you know, the situation, if this mindset like, hey, if I take a look, say, yeah, no, yeah, it is okay, I would rather not do it. So I don't know, like,
Mhm.
should be something I have to take a look and say, do know, I did it.
Mhm.
This is coming
Mhm.
from me. But
Yeah.
again, that's why, you know, you like when I was saying I need to be sometimes more concise, it's exactly about that. You know, I need to be a little like more objective. You know,
Mhm.
trying to be like more straightforward, and that is like a perfect example.
Mhm. Okay, let's just take the last question, because I know we've taken so much of your time. So, Chris, go ahead.
So I can't hear.
Can you hear me? No,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
can
no, no,
hear
no.
you
Okay.
now.
Thank you for hosting the whole space, and thank you for talking to us with everything. So my question was, looking back at your career so far, are there things you wish you could have done differently?
Yes, one thing, like that is kind of like goes together with my previous answer, I just wish to be able to take a look at projects that I have to do and understand they don't need to be, like a rocket sometimes, and because I can just like take a look and see like how many hours, and of course that might be how I became, like to be like the position I'm in right now, but how many hours I invested in some certain situations, which like was not like actually necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something, like it is, as I said, it's not like work in progress, but I wish I could like get back in time and say like, hey, Victor, now it is time, like to deliver. Okay, you can like tweak more in another opportunity, but uh, because again, like I would like have so many more. It's a lot not project, but more content to share with people. And as I said, the joy of my work today is not like people should sugarcoat me, say, "Oh, you're great" or anything. But no, like when you receive like a sincere feedback about people say, "Hey, Victor, man, your work inspired me to be better." Right? So for me, that is like the main goal right now. That is like why I'm working. To be honest, I'm not like even like working more to. Uh, I'm not like even working more, just like to I don't
Make
know
more
raise
money
some
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, to raise some sort of money or anything. I'm not saying like I'm rich or anything. That's not the case. But I am like right now like focused in like helping people to become better in whatever they're trying to do, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, even like this web award we're talking about, the web was like a perfect example of that because at first I didn't want to, like to ask for votes or anything, but I had a live to a friend of mine in Brazil like 2 weeks ago, and then I was sharing a bit like, about like my history, and people they were there, they are kind of like extremely engaged, and they are like extremely like happy because they could see like a black guy coming from a really like humble environment be able to achieve things which they believed that wasn't possible because
Wow.
of lack of opportunity or lack of like resource, and that kind of like inspired me to take a look say like what uh this web awards is not like representing Vintor anymore. It's representing like my clients, represent like my families, represent like people who see my work and are counting on me because I want them to believe that is actually like possible. And Melissa,
Aww.
Melissa, can I seize the opportunity? So
Yeah.
people, like just like casting some vote, so some votes right now. I know you guys like might like voted already, but if you have like just one different account, a different
I vo-
email,
I voted from two accounts.
guys, go there and just like one more vote. And I promise I will be back with like
Yeah.
put here the statuette here, and then we're gonna like celebrate together. So if you have just one more account, just go there and try to help us to bring like this baby home. That's gonna be for us.
I think you will win it, honestly. I think you will because the other ones are nice, but yours is so much more like,
But like here's the thing, like there are like two ways to win. Of course, the way I would like to win is actually like being chosen by the International Academy of Digital Arts and Science because they are the one who are actually they're like the one who are actually giving the prize. For example, we had like Michelle Obama, Will Smith, Ben Stiller, The Rock, uh, Kanye West, all of those people, they one actually from the digital, like from the people from academy, and the another one is like the people, the awards people voice, which to be honest, is a kind of like popular award to see like who's more popular. Which
Mm,
if you take a look, it's not like actually exactly about uh, being, I'd say, the best or anything, but who is like doing a better campaign. And
yeah.
in an interesting fact, just like put me here, like the link, guys. If you can like vote if this link, that would be like because I'm just not trying to.
Yeah, Brianna already shared the link in the chat.
Okay, so anyways, as I was saying, and it is interesting because yesterday I was like just because actually all of my competitor there, I know them. I have worked with them. Not work
Mhm.
like work, but I have like been in touch, so I know of them, of the websites. And it is interesting because one of the owner of the company, like the websites, is it is like in second place. She promised all of their employees she's gonna give like a statuette for all of them, and they have like I don't know like over 40 employees. So try to
Oh my
imagine,
God.
try to
That
imagine
is so
like
not fair.
see, so that is my point. So try to imagine like how is my life right now to deal with all of those agents, like it is really unfair, but I mean, I believe in, I believe in you guys, like we
Yeah,
are
the
not, I'm not,
underdogs.
yeah, I'm not doing this for me anymore. So if you guys can help, just like help share with everybody like vote if you one or two or three accounts, and you want like bring it, you want to have like a huge celebration.
And also something we do, or actually I used to do this at the beginning, and I think that's how a lot of people knew about the flow party is whenever we finished, people would share like their experience on Twitter. So if you guys want to spread the word also, you can share the link on Twitter and get some people to vote as well.
Yeah, that would be, like really helpful because as I said, it's not like for me anymore. Because if it was just for me, not trying to brag or anything, but I won, some awards, and that would be one more, but not like just because it's like just one more awards, but it would be like something you like put here and like be happy about it, but their presentation behind it get like out of my hand. If you
Mhm.
like right now, it is like the whole city and people. They're like all count on me. They're like all invested, all like sharing every day. I vote 3 times. I asked my friend. I asked like my neighbor. And they it's just like oh my god. If I don't do this thing, like people gonna like kill me, But of course, there's like for me a more important like purpose behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much, Victor. This was absolutely amazing. We're going to cherish this presentation forever. The recording will be up probably next week. So, yeah, thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. Thanks so much, guys. Like sorry, if it take like too long. To be honest, I'm not like
No, we
streamer,
love this.
not streamer, not YouTuber, not anything. Just try to come here and try to share a little bit some knowledge. Of course, if that was something that was like not very clear, or you guys like wants to ask something, I always answer everybody. Doesn't matter how long it takes. I always try to answer everybody because I'm connecting with people. I'm not like celebrity which like has fans and needs to ignore
Yeah.
them. No, I'm a human being, so I want like to treat everybody like nicely. So if you have any question, please go to my Twitter, Instagram, or anything, and ask a question. I will be there like to talk. Okay,
Perfect. Thank you, Victor. We'll
Melissa,
see ya.
thanks so much again. For this opportunity. We
Of
both
course.
know like how how crazy it was to get here because like you always trying like to create something which like would be like meaningful and everything, but we finally did it. I hope people could like get some something of it. And for all your support, like you're a person like I truly admire, and I'm really like glad to have your support and the support of like the web phone because I know like some people from like the non-code community start like talk to me, and I do appreciate like to have like this proximity. So thanks so much again, and not just I think I can say for almost everybody here, you're doing like excellent job. I know everybody's really happy to have like this opportunity to be here, to learn from people, to connect with people, and you have been, like the one provide that. So all my thank you, in name of the whole community to sharing your time, sharing your knowledge, and make that happen for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Victor. And best of luck. I know you're going to get it. And when you get it, we're going to celebrate. Let's
Let's
go.
get it. Let's get it. Okay, people, thanks so much, and
Thank you.
hope to talk with you on Twitter. Okay,
Okay.
bye bye. Have a nice one.
Bye.